Someone once paid thousands of real dollars for a hat. That doesn't exist. Not in the real world, at least. In the online game RuneScape, virtual items have held very real value for over 2 decades. This simple game, launched in 2001, wasn't just a place for adventure. It became an accidental laboratory for economics. Players fought dragons and mined ore, but they also created a complex multi-million-dollar market. A market where digital gold could be turned into a real-world fortune. This is the story of how some players mastered that market and became millionaires, not by finding treasure in a dungeon, but by understanding the hidden economy of a virtual world. The game itself was straightforward. Players created a character. They leveled up skills like fishing, mining, combat. They completed quests. The world, known as Gielinor, was persistent and shared by millions of players. To understand how players made millions, you must first understand how RuneScape's economy worked. It was a pure, player-driven market. The game's developer, Jagex, introduced items and gold into the world. They did this primarily through monster drops, mining, woodcutting. However, Jagex did not set the prices. The value of every single sword, potion, and raw fish was determined by the players themselves. It was a textbook example of supply and demand. If a new monster was released that dropped a powerful new shield, the supply of that shield increased, and its price would naturally fall over time as more players obtained it. This created a living, breathing financial system. Prices fluctuated daily, even hourly. A game update could cause massive shifts. For example, if Jagex announced a new boss that was weak to a specific type of weapon, the price of that weapon would skyrocket overnight. Traders who anticipated these changes could make a fortune. The economy was also affected by the number of active players. During summer holidays, when more people were online, the supply of common goods would increase, often driving down their prices. This virtual world had its own market cycles, its own inflation, and its own class of savvy investors who treated it like a real-world stock exchange. Gold was the lubricant for this entire economic engine. It was the universal medium of exchange. Everything had a price in gold pieces. This made gold itself a commodity. Its value was not fixed. Its worth was based on what it could buy inside the game. But when players started selling it for real money, gold gained a second value, a real-world exchange rate. This rate was also determined by supply and demand. The more gold being farmed and sold, the cheaper it became. The more players wanting to buy gold to speed up their progress, the more expensive it became. This exchange rate was the bridge between the game and reality. This bridge was built and maintained by the players, not the game's creators. Jagex officially prohibited the practice of real-world trading, or RWT. They saw it as cheating, an unfair advantage that undermined the spirit of the game. This meant the entire multi-million-dollar market for RuneScape Gold operated in a gray area. It was unregulated, unsanctioned, and risky. Yet, it thrived. It thrived because the demand was immense. Players wanted to save time. And where there is strong demand, a market will always find a way to exist, even if it has to operate in the shadows, far from the watchful eyes of the game's administrators. Some players had more time than money. Others had more money than time. This imbalance created an opportunity. Informal trades began, connecting Gielinor to our financial reality, turning efficiency and rare drops into business calculations, potential assets, jobs, and investments. For a handful of pioneers who saw the potential early, it was a pathway to becoming incredibly wealthy, all built on the back of a fantasy world made of pixels and code. The most direct way to make money was through a practice known as gold farming. This was the industrial-scale harvesting of in-game currency for the express purpose of selling it for real money. It was not playing the game for fun, it was work. Gold farmers identified the most efficient, repetitive tasks that generated the most gold per hour, killing the same monster for thousands of hours, collecting a specific resource over and over again. The goal was simple: maximize output, minimize cost, convert the digital product into hard currency. These operations transformed gameplay into a systematic assembly line process. Early farms were small operations. Sometimes it was just a single person playing for 12 to 16 hours a day. But as the market grew, the operations became more sophisticated. Entrepreneurs, often in countries with lower labor costs, saw a business opportunity. They would rent out internet cafes or set up large offices filled with computers. They then hired people to play RuneScape full-time. These employees worked in shifts, ensuring that the accounts were generating gold 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The operation was managed like a real factory, with supervisors, quotas, and payroll, all dedicated to producing a virtual currency. The scale of these farms could be massive, with reports of hundreds of employees botting to increase efficiency, programs that could kill chickens or mine clay indefinitely. But Jagex actively hunted and banned these automated accounts. Farms accumulated gold, sold in bulk or direct via websites. Even at a few cents per million, billions per week meant thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars a month. Beyond the brute force method of gold farming, a more nuanced market existed: the buying and selling of entire RuneScape accounts. An account was more than just a character. It was a digital identity defined by hundreds or thousands of hours of effort. High-level accounts with impressive skills, rare items, completed quests were highly valuable. Some players didn't have the time or patience for the long grind. They paid a premium to bypass the journey and jump straight to the destination. This created a lucrative niche: specialist builders and sellers. The process was called account flipping. Start a new account from scratch. Spend weeks or months training skills to high levels. Focus on specific builds. For example, a pure account optimized for PvP. Once desirable criteria were met: high combat stats, access to exclusive guilds, a well-stocked bank, the account was ready for sale. Listed on a third-party forum or marketplace. Prices: about $50 for mid-level accounts, up to several thousand for maxed characters with rare, untradeable items. This required deep game knowledge and discipline. Sellers learned efficient training methods and buyer preferences. Maxed combat accounts and niche skillers both commanded premiums. Top flippers ran it like a small business, training multiple accounts at once to keep supply steady. But the risks were huge. The practice violated Jagex's terms of service. Suspected accounts could be permanently banned without warning. Scams were rampant. Sellers could sometimes reclaim sold accounts by impersonation, stealing them back. Still, the profit potential was too tempting. A dedicated player could sell accounts for a few $1,000s every couple of months, building substantial income. While some made money through brute force farming and others through patient account building, a third group played a different game entirely. They were the market manipulators, the speculators, and the arbitrage experts. They treated the Grand Exchange, RuneScape's centralized auction house, like the New York Stock Exchange. Their goal was to buy low and sell high. They didn't create new value by killing monsters or training skills. Instead, they profited from the natural price fluctuations within the game's massive economy. This required skill, patience, and a keen understanding of market psychology. These players, often called merchers, studied trends across hundreds of items using historical price tools. A common strategy: identify high-volume items with stable ranges, place large buy offers slightly below average, and sell offers slightly above. Thousands of cycles skimming small profits. Over time, these tiny margins would compound into a massive fortune. A more exciting form of speculation involved rare items. RuneScape has discontinued items, such as party hats from 2001 holiday events, never re-released. With a fixed, limited supply, their value has soared over 2 decades. A party hat that was once worthless now sells for billions of gold pieces, the equivalent of tens of thousands of real dollars. Speculators who bought early have seen returns rivaling top real-world assets. They watched for game updates. A sharp-eyed player could read between the lines and predict items that would spike, buying up materials like oak logs before demand hit. This was insider trading, but in a virtual world, a high-risk, high-reward game that could multiply wealth overnight or leave a bank full of worthless items if the prediction was wrong. Turning a virtual fortune into real money was the final and most perilous step. Because Jagex forbade real-world trading, there were no official channels to cash out. This pushed the industry onto unauthorized, third-party websites and forums. Those platforms were digital black markets, sellers, buyers willing to pay real money. These sites were the critical link, converting in-game effort into real wealth. The process typically worked like this. Seller lists their gold or account for sale. Buyer places an order and pays, often via PayPal. Website acts as intermediary. An employee meets in-game to pick up and deliver the gold. The website takes a commission. Escrow added a layer of security. Top sites became large, professional operations with 24/7 support. But the risks were huge. Biggest threat, Jagex itself. An anti-cheat team hunted sellers and buyers. Detected trades could mean permanent bans. Sellers could lose all their gold. Buyers could lose purchased gold and accounts. Sellers used complex evasion tactics, multiple accounts, routing trades. Scams were common, sites disappearing overnight. Payment processors often sided with buyers. Scammers could charge back, leaving sellers empty-handed. Income was often undeclared. Profits from virtual goods are taxable in many countries. Sellers risked legal trouble with tax authorities. It was not a simple or safe business, a high-stakes gamble at every turn. The story of RuneScape's wild economy is more than just a tale about a video game. It is a powerful case study in how value is created in a digital world. It demonstrates a fundamental economic principle. If a large group of people collectively decide something is valuable, it becomes valuable. It does not matter if that thing is a piece of paper, a shiny rock, or a string of code representing a blue hat in a fantasy game. The shared belief in its worth is what gives it a price. RuneScape's economy became real because millions of players invested their time and energy into it, giving that time and energy a quantifiable market value. This digital gold rush offers a clear financial insight, especially relevant today. Scarcity drives value, even artificial scarcity. Jagex's decision to discontinue items like party hats created a fixed supply. In a world where digital goods can usually be copied infinitely, this made them unique. They became the digital equivalent of a rare painting, a vintage car. Their value wasn't based on their utility, but on their rarity and status. This principle is the foundation for modern digital assets like NFTs. The idea of a unique, verifiable digital item holding significant value was proven in RuneScape decades before it became a mainstream concept. However, the most important lesson is one of caution. The line between a game and a job, and between an investment and a violation of the rules. The fortunes made in RuneScape were built on a foundation of immense risk.